A podcaster just did a video where he alleges that Elliott Wilson and Roc Nation colluded and conspired to finesse him out of $20,000.
A lot of people been tapped in and hitting me about this whole who owes me this $20,000. We recorded an episode, and in that episode, it was the first time that I even spoke about it publicly. Mm-hmm. It didn't come out. But I realized after watching the game tape, I was really emotional about it. Mm-hmm. One, $20,000 is a lot of money.
100%.
It's a lot of time, a lot of all of the things. Like, I know social media makes, money seem like is not as important as it really is, especially in hip hop and entertainment. Like, people look at 20,000 and, oh, he spent that at the club. Like, that's not my situation. That's not my life.
Right.
So $20,000 from my personal bank account is a real thing. It's a substantial amount of money. And so when I was talking about it, I was pretty emotional. And I didn't want to come off that way in the first episode. I also didn't want to spend the whole episode talking about Elliott Wilson, right? Like, you just got to take your L sometimes, and it just happens to be, out of all the people I worked with, I took an L to this.
Whenever it comes to anything involving Roc Nation, y'all expect me to be biased. I'm going to be neutral here. So the podcaster, Savon, was approached by Elliott Wilson. Elliott Wilson wanted to do a pilot for season 3 of his podcast that he was going to pitch to Roc Nation. Apparently, Roc Nation was interested. So Savon had a podcast, but then, he ended his podcast. So now he was doing just full executive producer mode. So Savon took on a project for Elliott Wilson. Now, there was some caveats, according to Savon, that when the show is sold to Roc Nation for season 3, he will get paid. However, Savon said that Elliott Wilson promised them that even if the show doesn't get picked up by Roc Nation, he will still give him the money that he used on the production. Now, apparently there was a contract involved where it was Elliott and Roc Nation had some type of agreement in place. Savon was brought into that agreement, but Elliott promised Savon that even if nothing works out with Roc Nation, that he will still pay Savon out of his pocket. So Savon fronted the cost of the production, the studio, the lighting, everything it took to produce season 3. Now, season 3 was produced, but Savon has not gotten paid. He hasn't gotten $1 yet.
Well, I think that's what's upsetting you most.
I think so.
Because you really can't get over the fact that it's Elliott Wilson. Every time we have the conversation and it's like the money's brought up, it's like, no, but it's Elliott.
But why do I feel like that?
I think you might feel like Drake felt with Steve Lacy, like he's a gentle op. And I think you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I would have rather it been like a Jim Jones.
Right, because then,
then I could be like,
then you can be like, all right, Jimmy.
You know what? I really might not get that money back. Yeah, you gotta take. But it's like, Elliott Wilson.
Right, and it was like a consistent thing. Like he was in here,
it was a
like
consistent
recording,
thing.
And it's just kind of like playing in your face a bit.
Yeah. So what I will say is, again, we're not going to spend a whole episode talking about it. I did some work with Elliott Wilson. I EP'd his last season of the Elliott Wilson Experience from every aspect of it outside of pre-production. So he did the questions. Like, he's a real journalist. So let me just give the full picture. He did the work as far as the interview. Like, I had nothing to do with like questions or like, he does that. He comes in, he's very prepared. But every other moving part of that project was through me.
Right.
So the videographer, the editor, the photographer, the space, he filmed it in the studio that I own, the equipment, all of the other surrounding pieces kind of went through me. Mm-hmm. And, when I was telling this story to some of my friends, they was like, why would you take a risk like this on Elliott Wilson? Like, yeah, he's established, but nothing about him gives money, right? Like, nothing about him gives budget, so why would you do it? Not only does nothing about him give that, but I also have people who worked with him prior and was like, hey, bro, you need to be careful.
The most absurd part about this entire situation, now we haven't heard from Elliott yet, so we're only taking Savon's word for it. Savon will go on and say that he essentially pulled out his last $20,000 to spend it on production for an Elliott Wilson show. This man said he was sitting on $20,000 comfortable. He pulled out the entire $20,000 from out of his stock market and his investment portfolio and used his investments to pay for an Elliott Wilson show. I can't begin to understand the absurdity. Now, Now, I might think of this a little differently if Elliot Wilson put up with me and said, hey, man, I got Rap Radar, right? We're relaunching Rap Radar. I could maybe understand why I may get involved and maybe contribute to that. But if Elliot was like, hey, bro, I'm starting this new show where I'm interviewing people and I'm looking at the numbers of the other stuff and I'm like, these numbers don't say investment worthy. I'm sorry. Again, I'm not dissing. I'm sorry. These numbers don't say investment worthy, bruh. Okay? And then also, too, I feel like the very logical question would be, why don't you have, the $650 needed to rent out a studio every week? Why am I putting up all the, why don't you have the $650 to rent out a studio once a week to do the podcast every week? A podcast studio ain't that expensive, homie. Like, you don't need $100,000 to do a podcast. You could essentially pay the $650 for an hour booking and an hour studio time, and they handled the camera angles, they handled the equipment, and you essentially just rent out the space. Why would I need to give my hard-earned money? Sounds like a lick, man. This here sounds like a lick. The only thing I could think about is, because Savon is saying he already had the studio. So if he already had the studio and he already had the equipment, then what did he spend the $20,000 on? Like, is he just like calculating, hey, you rented out the studio for this amount of time, I usually charge people this amount? But that's one thing though. That's like that's theft of service. Savon saying he put out $20,000 and gave it into the production. What did he give to the production?
Wait, so you mean to tell me somebody warned you about this?
A few people warned me. Yeah.
Are you gonna piss me off?
I never told you that.
No, you left that out, and I'm glad you left that stupid out. Like,
a few people did warn me about, hey, he's not known for paying people.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you why I was like, this is worth the risk. Mm-hmm. So one, at the time that Elliot came to me, he was like, hey, I need a studio space and I need help creating this season. Like, this is really, really important for me because if this season goes well, I'll get a season 3, which I didn't give a season 3. Like, right. We got a season this season. So he's telling me all of these things, and what really made me commit to it was the fact that he was working with Roc Nation.
Okay.
So it wasn't an independent Elliot Wilson experiment. It was Elliot Wilson with the backing of Roc Nation.
That would have made me more hesitant. I don't know what y'all have heard about Roc Nation. They not flowing in surplus of money. Roc Nation damn near went bankrupt. Y'all didn't see the Desiree Perez tapes? When Desiree Perez was stating on camera that Roc Nation was going bankrupt and she had to make some moves and dealings to get a $20-40 million loan to keep Roc Nation afloat. Roc Nation don't strike me as the type of brand or business that's just doing straight up business. Like I don't know what y'all think about Roc Nation. I don't have those expectations on Roc Nation. They don't strike me as a type that's just handing out paper. Right? Ain't Jay-Z tricked? Jay-Z essentially did to Nicki Minaj and other artists, which you are accusing Elliot Wilson of doing to you. Jay-Z told all these other artists, hey, forget the Spotify exclusive deal. I know Apple Music is trying to give y'all $10+ million. Forget that. Come and sign a title. I'm going to give you equity into title. You will be an owner and a boss of your own DSP. Nicki Minaj, Kanye, and all these other artists lined up to sign over to a title, gave their name, their likeness, their NIL to promote this under the assumption they are co-owners. Man, Jay-Z sold title for $300 million and Nicki Minaj ain't get $1. And you thought that was the good people to do business with? I can't begin to understand, but I give him the benefit of the doubt because I guess he probably thought, if Elliot Wilson don't got money, Roc Nation certainly got the paper. But his business, and he says, listen, if Roc Nation don't pay me, that don't matter because I'm dealing with you specifically. So if they don't pay me, you still got to up that money. And I guess Elliot Wilson was expecting Roc Nation to front the bill. Roc Nation never fronted the bill. So now Elliot Wilson is stuck with this $20,000 debt that he essentially is saying he don't got.
So I had just left my job at HBO around that time. So I'm looking for clients. I'm looking for opportunity. I'm looking to network. I'm like, yo, if I could prove myself as an EP and I can handle everything in a 24, 48-hour turnaround. Like, the quality that we was putting out was incredible.
Yeah.
From the standards of people that I work with. Like, Carl, you work in production. You understand what this type of takes. Like,
a lot of money.
A lot of money, a lot of
time,
sweat equity.
Yeah.
And I was working with Pierre, Eden, Courtney, who's helping us. Like, I was bringing him the best of the best. Like, I wasn't just getting off the street.
Yeah.
So for me, I felt like it was a badge of honor to be able to produce at that type of level, especially in conjunction with a Roc Nation. That makes sense so far?
That's fair.
So it wasn't like
I'm not mad at you for it.
But there was a lot of like potential there and things that I could put on my resume where I'm like, yo, I'm proud of this work. I did this work. You know, the money is going to come. The relationship is going to come. I'm willing to put up the money for this for whatever reason because it needed to get done. And, you know, we had contracts. That's very important. There were signed, written agreements and contracts with me and Elliot.
Sounds like you need to lawyer up, brother.
I don't think I want to do that. Let me say that. Carl, you've been somebody who's worked on projects, EP things, directed things. And we spoke about this off air. From what you know, like, where were the missteps? Am I the idiot? Am I ever getting that money back?
He's in a position where he just got to eat the loss. Because hiring an attorney and pursuing Elliot Wilson for $20,000 is going to cost you more than $20,000. So if the problem is, hey, I spent my last $20,000, I gave it to Elliot, and I don't got money, and I need my money, well, that lawyer thing ain't the way to go because, you know, no lawyer is taking this pro bono, right? Because what? They're going to split the $20,000 with you, 35% of the $20,000 after doing like $50,000 to $100,000 worth of work. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. So he really has no other option but I guess go get it, man. Go get it. Now, Elliot Wilson, I do believe, just got surgery. So maybe Elliot Wilson, like right now, isn't completely on his feet, has not been working enough to where he's able to pay you. So maybe that's what it is, that he just don't have the money. And if he had the money, he would pay you. So, and if Elliot don't have the money, then that's even worse news for you because you about to pay an attorney to go after like $20,000, and let's just say you break even, and now you got to pay the attorney even more money to go after the $20,000. But Elliot Wilson don't really have like a 9-to-5. Elliot Wilson is like an independent contractor. He gets contracts. You can't really garnish his like wages, right? Like he could always just take the money and I don't know, hide it in Chime or Cash App or something, and you can't never get it.
Well, no, you're probably not getting the money back, but
unless you lawyer up.
Unless you lawyer up, but by the time you lawyer up, I mean, you probably he owes you how much?
$20,000.
So yeah, by the time you lawyer up, you might get half. You might settle out. I don't know, but it depends if you feel like it's worth it. That's the thing.
I mean, could I use like $20,000 today?
Yes.
Like, so this podcast.
I'm saying the time though. Do you feel like it's worth lawyering up, going to court, doing the whole process?
No, I don't. That's
why don't
part.
You feel that way?
Because I would rather put my energy in doing this, than doing that. Okay. Even though it's a large amount of money, that would like help my real life. Like, and so at the time I was looking at investing in property. I had a stock portfolio. Like, legit, when I think about it, I was setting my life up.
You were. I remember that.
We was talking about it. The real time, I'm like, yo, yeah, I was about to get a spot. Like, that $20,000 is a down payment on a house, on a property. You know what I'm saying? That $20,000, I had it in the stock market. Shout out to Ian Dunlap. Ian Dunlap was getting me right with his investments because I had an extra $20,000 to kind of maneuver with. And so when that money doesn't come back, or when people are ghosting you, or when people aren't responding, now it's like, all right, you. Now that's when I get angry. So we recorded the episode last week, and I left out a lot of things because I was really just operating off of emotion. And also, you guys didn't have the full context, so y'all was just looking at me like, what are you talking about?
No, I was riding with you. I just didn't understand why you didn't want that money back.
No, I do want the money back.
Right, you do.
But you got to pick and choose where you want to put your energy.
I want to take something back I said earlier, like after watching this further. He had to pay employees he hired to work on the podcast with Elliot, and that's where the money went. So he already had the studio. He had to pay employees like cameraman, like, I don't know, like question writers, like, I don't know. But he had to pay employees, like editors, to work on the podcast, and that's where the money went, okay? But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? I don't know why anybody will put up their investments to do production for anybody's podcast, yet alone. Man, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. All right, y'all think Elliot ever paying back this money? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here to find out why Charlamagne the God just escalated his beef with DJ Academics. I'm going to see you guys in the Charlamagne the God and Academics video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Send me a hype below if you want to show support.